In American business history, a name emerges as the personification of ingenuity, steadfast passion, and unbounded courage. This name is none other than Henry Ford. His story, set in the heart of Michigan in 1863, weaves a captivating narrative of a farm boy's spectacular climb to become an industrial titan. Henry Ford's incredible journey is a tribute to unwavering innovation and tenacity, a force that permanently changed the automotive environment and altered transportation. In this video, you will learn about Henry Ford's stint with Thomas Edison, the iconic Ford Model T, Ford's role in World Wars I and II, his views about Adolf Hitler's ideologies, and many more. Watch this video till the end and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Let us go on that incredible journey. Henry Ford's early years. Henry Ford was born on a farm in Springwells Township, Michigan, on July 30, 1863, to William and Mary Ford. His siblings were Margaret Ford, Jane Ford, William Ford, and Robert Ford. Henry Ford's path into the world of engineering and innovation began during his childhood on a farm, where his father had planned a farming career for him. Young Henry, on the other hand, had a great interest in machines and an insatiable desire to choose a different path in life. When he lost his mother in 1876, it was a watershed point in his life, and it fueled his ambition to leave the life of a farmer. This brought him to Detroit in 1879, where he worked as a trainee machinist, first for James F. Flower & Brothers, and then for the Detroit Dry Dock Company. In Detroit, a young Ford came across a Nichols and Shepard road engine, which changed the course of his life forever. This was his first interaction with a self-propelled vehicle, and the concept of reinventing transportation struck him. The initial sight of this engine sparked Ford's passion for transforming transportation. Initially, Henry Ford tried steam-powered automobiles, but he quickly realized that the inherent explosion dangers made them unsuitable for light vehicles. He changed his concentration to engines with internal combustion in 1887, successfully repairing an Otto engine and developing a 4-horsepower motor. This was a watershed moment in American car history, as Ford's creation became the first vehicle available to the middle-class American people, opening the door for subsequent developments. By 1890, Ford had moved to developing a 2-cylinder engine, which he completed in 1892. This was a remarkable moment in his attempt to create a functional motor vehicle. His first vehicle was a landmark moment in automotive history, powered by a 2-cylinder, 4-horsepower engine. This breakthrough paved the way for the legendary Ford automobiles that would eventually dominate the American landscape. Henry Ford's encounter with Thomas Edison. Henry Ford's life took a positive turn in 1888 when he married Clara Jane Bryant, and their connection gave birth to their son, Edsel Ford, in 1893. In 1898, Ford met the great inventor Thomas Edison, who was a major player in the realm of invention and development while working as an engineer. Edison's approval of Ford's vehicle tests validated his vision and ability. In 1899, Henry Ford left Edison's job to found the Detroit Automobile Company, but the endeavor was a disaster, and the company was dissolved in 1901. Nonetheless, Ford's resolve was unwavering. In 1901, he worked with C. Harold Wills to design and build a 26-horsepower car, which he later raced. This victory established the groundwork for Ford and Malcolmson Limited, a company formed with coal merchant Alexander White Malcolmson that resulted in the founding of the Ford Motor Company. Model T. The launch of the Model T, a car that would revolutionize the face of American transportation and the nation's economy, was one of his most significant milestones in 1908. Among the revolutionary features of the Model T were a left-handed steering wheel, an enclosed engine and transmission, cast in solid block 4 cylinders, and 2 semi-elliptic spring suspensions. Its low cost and dependability made it affordable to the middle class, cementing its position in history. By 1918, half of all cars in the US were Model Ts, and all new cars were black. The assembly line mandated black for faster drying time, but Model Ts were also available in other colors, including red. In the 1920s, the Model T became a household brand, with a large proportion of American drivers learning to drive this legendary automobile. It had such an effect on American culture that the term Model T became linked with the automobile itself. Henry Ford's business legacy. In 1918, Henry Ford passed over control of the Ford Motor Company to his son, Edsel Ford, while retaining decision-making power. Ford prospered under Edsel's leadership, and in 1922, the business bought the Lincoln Motor Business, a premium vehicle brand founded during World War I. By the mid-1920s, General Motors had established itself as the premier American automaker, utilizing a price ladder strategy and profiting from Harley Earl's arts and color department. In response, Ford released the Model A in 1927, selling over 4 million vehicles by 1931. The yearly model change system, as well as the Ford-owned Universal Credit Corporation, were important in automotive finance. Ford, on the other hand, was not always eager to accept every technological breakthrough in the industry. Ford automobiles did not have hydraulic brakes or all-metal roofs until 1935–36. Ford debuted the flathead Ford the 5.8 in 1932, cementing the company's status as a builder of performance automobiles, notably in the hot-rodding world. Ford launched the Mercury brand in 1939 to compete with Dodge and Buick, significantly broadening its vehicle options. As the founder of welfare capitalism, Henry Ford tried to enhance workplace conditions and employee satisfaction while lowering high turnover rates. In 1914, Ford introduced a pioneering $5 per day salary, which was more than quadruple the normal wage at the time, and it drew top Detroit mechanics, leading to greater output and competence. Henry Ford also instituted sharing of profits for employees who had been with the business for at least 6 months and followed the regulations of the social department. This department, comprised of 50 investigators and support personnel, aims to maintain employee standards while benefiting a vast number of workers. Ford was an outspoken opponent of labor unions, and he named Harry Bennett to manage the service department, thinking that efficiency was essential for economic success. Despite industry and government pressure, Ford was among the last to recognize the United Automobile Workers (UAW) union. The River Rouge plant was forced to close due to a UAW strike in April 1941. Under pressure from his wife, Ford eventually changed his company's attitude, resulting in the most generous UAW contract conditions among manufacturers. Henry Ford, as a visionary industrialist, believed in economic liberty and global expansion. By 1911, he had built assembly plants in both the United Kingdom and Canada, making him the dominant automobile producer in both countries. Ford expanded worldwide in the 1920s, building operations in Australia, France, India, and Mexico. Ford had stores on 6 continents by 1929. Despite this, the Fordlandia undertaking, a commercial rubber plantation in the Amazon, however, was a flop. By 1932, Ford held responsibility for 1/3 of the world's car production and had multiple subsidiaries, demonstrating his unrelenting vision and ambition. His industrial success stemmed from his conviction that eradicating greed, intolerance, and short-sightedness would pave the way for world economic and technical growth. World War I and World War II. Henry Ford's impact went beyond the automobile industry. He received induction into the National Aviation Hall of Fame in 1985 for his contributions to aviation and advocacy for peace. During World War I, Ford funded a peace ship to Europe in 1915, intending to prevent war and business interests from chasing external markets through warfare. Ford's British facilities produced Fordson tractors, trucks, and warplane engines to help the British food supply during World War I. When the United States entered the war in 1917, Ford quickly became a major provider of weapons, notably the Liberty engine for aviation and anti-submarine boats. In 1918, President Woodrow Wilson persuaded Ford to compete for a Michigan Senate seat, which he ultimately lost to Truman Newberry. World War II marked the beginning of a new chapter in Ford's thinking on global trade and combat. He remained adamantly opposed to the U.S. entering the war, thinking that international trade might generate prosperity while averting wars. Ford blamed conflicts on wealthy financiers who benefited from human misery. When Rolls-Royce sought another vendor for the Merlin engine in 1940, Ford Werke was accused of breaking the 1929 Geneva Convention. Henry Ford oversaw the creation of Willow Run, a massive aircraft complex outside Detroit before the United States entered World War II. This facility had become the world's largest production line by 1944, manufacturing 650 B-24 Liberator aircraft per month. By 1945, Ford was completing each B-24 in less than 18 hours, with one flying off the assembly line every 58 minutes. Henry Ford on Adolf Hitler's views. The life of Henry Ford was not without controversy. His ideas, which included a hate of jazz and a distrust of Jewish internationalism, sparked widespread uproar. Hitler's representative even requested funds for the Nazi cause from Ford in 1924. Ford's writings were attacked by the Anti-Defamation League, who accused him of spreading anti-Semitic ideas. Due to a libel suit filed by Aaron Shapiro, Ford's journal, The Independent, was forced to cease in December 1927. Ford's opposition to Jewish groups was widely condemned, notably by Woodrow Wilson. The American Jewish Committee strongly resisted Ford's anti-Semitic campaign, which resulted in the closing of the International Jew in 1927. Ford was awarded the Grand Cross of the German Eagle in 1938, the highest distinction Nazi Germany could bestow on a foreigner. His contentious legacy is still being debated, and his publications are still being sold on racist and neo-Nazi sites in Germany. Henry Ford's impact on motor racing. Henry Ford contributed significantly to the realm of motor racing. His racing career began in 1902 with the purchase of Barney Oldfield's racing machine. He worked as a constructor and driver from 1901 until 1913, winning the sweepstakes racing car, which led to the founding of the Henry Ford Company. Ford's Model TS achieved a top speed record at the Detroit Fairgrounds in 1911. In 1913, he sought to compete in the Indianapolis 500 but was told that the regulations needed more than 1,000 pounds. Ford departed from racing after becoming dissatisfied with the sport and the production of the Model T. Despite stepping down from racing, Henry Ford's impact on the automobile industry and his achievements as an automobile designer and engineer were unrivaled. His race vehicles were widely recognized as among the greatest in the sport, earning him admission into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America in 1996. The Big Three and Henry Ford's later years. After his son, Edsel Ford, died in 1943, Henry Ford II took over as president of Ford Motor Company. As his health deteriorated, Ford passed over the presidency of the firm to his grandson in 1945 before retiring. Henry Ford died of a cerebral hemorrhage in 1947 in his estate, Fair Lane, in Dearborn, Michigan. Henry Ford won various awards and medals during his life, including the Elliott Cresson Medal from the Franklin Institute in 1928. His influence stretched beyond national lines, as indicated by the Grand Cross of the German Eagle he received from Nazi Germany in 1938. The United States Postal Service even created a 12-pound postage stamp in his honor, highlighting his historical significance. Henry Ford's life was defined by his ingenuity, enthusiasm, and a set of beliefs and deeds that altered the automobile industry and helped mold American culture. His narrative exemplifies the strength of perseverance and vision in the face of adversity, and his legacy continues to motivate future generations, reminding us that a single brilliant mind can change the course of history. Thank you for coming along on this fantastic journey with us. We hope you had as much fun as we did with these innovations. If you like this video, please like it, leave a comment to express your thoughts, and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel and set your alarm for more remarkable trips. Stay tuned.